and it has begun. Welcome everyone, stand-up paddlers and other paddling community and water lovers. Thrilled to be here. My name's Kristin Thomas. Supconnect lets me do these interviews every Thursday. It's usually at 1 p.m. Pacific time, but we're really expanding and we're going to be talking to someone in England and someone in Australia. So sometimes it's 4 p.m. Pacific time to accommodate. We also have a Facebook group, Supconnect Live, that follows up because in this format can't share pictures or videos or post the links. So that's a great place to join in. We immediately are recorded onto IGTV and then put onto Supconnect's YouTube also. So if you haven't seen all of our broadcasts, I believe we're up to about 15. They are recorded and available. And if one of your friends missed the live, we'd love them to catch up and join us in that way. So thanks again, Supconnect, and excited to get started. We're about to have somebody with a different water background than we've ever had. She's a paddler and a racer, but she also works for a company that makes a really interesting product that I'm excited to talk about. So I'm going to look here and see if I can find Nicole Stimpson from Chesapeake Light Craft. She also has her own paddle company. She is from Annapolis, Maryland. And, sorry, there we go. See if we can find her. There she is. Yay! And has done a lot of neat races, including the sea paddle around Manhattan, which is one I just think is spectacular. She has a real special reason she did that. So let's welcome Nicole. And she actually happens to be at work, so I'm kind of excited. I think she might be able to even show us. Cancel. No, I don't want to cancel. That usually hasn't come up before. Hope everyone's doing well. We're in such strange times, and I'm in California where we're returning to some lockdown, but lucky to still have access to the water. So my sanity is getting out on the water, but otherwise trying to be very careful and thoughtful and wear my mask and all that other good stuff. So oars and paddles, Nicole, it should have a request. It looks like you're there. And you should be able to click on that and join us. Hopefully, thank you for those of us. Let's see, who have we got here? Oh, Scotland. I love that people from all over the world. Supconnect is such an awesome format and really has connected water people all over the place. Let's see, it says there's someone there. Let's try again. See if we can get you on. I did find you there right at the top, Nicole. There she is. Yay! Fantastic. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Wonderful.
All right.
So we have a good connection, and we'll hope that will continue. Well, let's jump right into it. You have an interesting water background, different than I think anybody that I've talked to. But also, we also love to hear how you got started in stand-up paddling. What really hooked you? I think you mentioned it was on a vacation. So two things I'd love in a nutshell.
2013, I was on vacation in Charleston, and family went kayaking. And then when we came in from kayaking, there were some boards. And I was like, yeah, let's go hop on a board and check it out. And that was my first time just standing up. And it was such a fun experience because you're paddling down this canal and dolphin comes by and you're like, really? Come on.
Pinch me. This is real.
Yeah. So then when we got home, we just started, renting boards and getting out here in the Annapolis area. And then finally bought 2 boards and started going out as a family. But then I'm a little competitive. So I was like, let's go paddle. And so I ended up just paddling on my own. And then in 2016, I joined a local race league, and the rest is history.
Very fun. It does seem like Annapolis, Maryland. I know of quite a few different businesses, and you have a lot of water there.
Mm-hmm.
Bay mostly?
Mostly bay, lots of rivers. We have more shoreline than California, actually.
Isn't that wild?
That's our little fun fact.
Yeah. And it's funny that California is thought of as such a water place, but Southern California, we have the Pacific Ocean, but as you mentioned, not as much of that interesting shoreline. It is fairly straight with little harbors and bays, and we don't have a lot of rivers and lakes. Reservoirs is what, from water we brought in. And then you also have a water background in a different type of paddling.
Yes. So when actually I was a swimmer too, growing up like you. And then when I got to college, I picked up rowing and just fell in love with the sport. After I graduated, I ended up coaching rowing at the collegiate and high school levels for 17 years. And most of my career was spent at the United States Naval Academy as the women's assistant coach. So, you know, that was, super, super fun. I was ready for a change, and that's when I pestered Chesapeake Light Craft to hire me, and that's where I am now.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Well, let's mention so Chesapeake Light Craft has been around for a while, I think. But they have kits to actually make beautiful wood. There's two of them behind you, and you're on one in the picture. Different type of watercraft, and I guess beyond watercraft, you can mention that one too. But stand-up paddle, I don't know that many people have thought that they could actually make their own board.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So in 2010, Larry Froley, who you know from Gray Whale Paddle, approached Chesapeake Light Craft about a stand-up paddleboard kit. And there's two designs now. So behind me is the 14-foot and then the 12-foot 6. So with Larry's race background, he came up, presented those two lengths, and that's why we have those. And then we have two versions where you can make the deck out of cedar strips, or you could go with an all plywood board, and you could decorate it with fabric, or basically just kind of do whatever you want, which is super fun.
Yeah, gorgeous. I love the cedar strips.
Yeah.
And are they a touring shape? They are tilt up to the nose. You have
a touring shape. The nose.
Touring racing.
So I've raced on both boards actually, and then I've crossed over to carbon though. So, but I do get out on these boards quite a bit, and they're a lot of fun. Yeah,
sounds like it. So, what does it take to build your own board? I don't have those skills, or do you need a lot of skills and tools to build them?
That's the beauty of it. You don't. No experience necessary, but you literally get a kit. So here at the shop, we have a CNC machine that precision cuts all of the plywood parts, and you're sent a big flat packed box, and then a manual, fiberglass, the resin, the hardener, and the manual walks you through the whole process. So you could be a total novice, and it's such a fun process. And I recently built my own 14 this past winter and finished this spring.
Oh, neat.
And I used to take our boards all the time from the shop and go to Race League, and people would say, "Oh, did you build that?" And I'd be like, "No, but I work for the company."
And now you can say you built it.
And now, yes, now that I finally built my own, I can say, yes, I did build that. And that's a super fun feeling. And I think it's something that our customers really enjoy.
Absolutely. So can I ask, is it a lot more money? I mean, it's beautiful wood. So cost-wise, I mean, there's a huge range in the price of boards. I mean, huge, but.
So yeah, our boards are around just over $1,000. So pretty much what you would spend on a brand new, board. And then you assemble it, but the construction, is just beautiful, and it's unique, and it's your own. And I think the fun thing is seeing the way people customize their boards, from our customers. So you can do whatever you want.
Really cool.
It's super fun.
That's amazing. So, did you say it's hollow construction? What's on the?
It is. Yep.
Inside?
So on the inside, actually, I got out kind of the start of a board.
Oh,
and
cool.
It's all hollow. So basically this is the beginnings where you get the plywood, really thin plywood that can bend to the shape. And then it has the frames on the inside, much like an aircraft wing. And that's what gives it its support. And then it's all hollow on the inside to help make it lightweight.
Yeah. And I see that those have cutouts too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cedar. It's interesting. We were talking wood last week with someone there that makes paddles of different woods, and they're in Oregon and local, and you're on the other coast. Do you guys make paddles too, or is that a?
We don't.
I don't know if that could be a kit. That'd be pretty hard.
we have a book on how to do it. And that's a lot of our customers are DIYers, so they'll definitely delve into that.
I'll bet you have a lot of that. Yeah, actually, that is a very reasonable price. I expected it to be a lot more, and I would say for most people in the racing world, they spend a lot more than that on their race boards. Again, there's a huge range. So for a beautiful touring board like that, I mean, if you're getting it, you love the whole act, I assume, of building it. It's not like that's a negative. That's a positive, that it's going to be, like you said, you have your board that you can say that you made. Yeah,
definitely.
Very fun.
And a lot of people, they miss the end of the process, the build. They're like, oh, I kind of miss, now that it's done. So, but then they come back and get more. So
there you go.
Nice.
Can I build it for somebody else?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. What fun. Well, let's talk a little bit about you and racing. And, I, as a fellow got hooked on racing and couldn't stop person, one of the things you've done that I have never done is the Sea Paddle New York, which is a very special race. So tell us about what your motivation was.
Sure. So in 2018 was the first time, I'd heard about Sea Paddle. And when someone told me about it, oh, it's this race around New York City. And I was like, that's crazy. There's no way I would do that. And then when I found out what Sea Paddle supports, I was like, okay, I have to do it now. Because Sea Paddle, SEA, the Surfers Environmental Alliance, they support a lot of charities. And one of those charities is for autism. And when my son was at the age of 2, he was diagnosed on the spectrum. And the amount of help and support that we got for my son, the least I could do is paddle around Manhattan, and raise some money for a great cause.
So did you do the whole thing, or did you do it as a relay? You did the whole thing.
No, I did the whole.
Wow.
So my good friend.
Very impressed.
My good friend Carlene Burns from Montrefit, who started the race league that I'm a part of. It was it was January of 2019, and I was like, I'm going to do it. Do you want to do it? And she was like, yeah, let's do it. So I think starting in like April, May of last year, every Tuesday morning we got together, we'd paddle like 6 miles, every week. We got in some long paddles, and we got to New York City, and it was crazy. It was probably some of the worst conditions I've ever paddled in. And good thing I got a tetanus shot beforehand, because now I can say I've swam
in the Hudson, or
all 3 of those I swam in the East River, I fell in the Harlem, and then finished off in the Hudson. So
I forget. There's a name of one place where the waters are coming together, where they said even without
Hellgate.
Yes, Hellgate.
Well, we were so funny because everyone's freaking out about Hellgate, and they're like, you got to watch the tide, you got to be careful. And we actually paddled through Hellgate without even noticing. And we got to one point, and we said, "Where's Hellgate? Are we there yet?" And they're like, "Yeah, you guys already paddled through it. You're fine." So we got super lucky. But I've heard there's been years where it's really bad.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Yeah. So, and as I remember, that event is really, I think it's special on so many levels. You mentioned all the different charities, but they make, when destination events make a whole, weekend of it. And
Absolutely.
I know they used to, early on, I don't think they were able to keep it going. They had a white party, and I thought, wow, you're in New York City and you've gone around it on the outside. And then to do sort of, to me, the other side of it, which would be this like, woo, I'm in a social thing in New York City.
It was very cool. Yeah.
Seems like it would be an amazing day. Those amazing contrasts.
It was, we had a party on the boat, which was kind of funny because you've been on the water all day, and then it's like,
and then you're back.
We're going to get on this boat. Okay. But it was really neat, and got to shower at Chelsea Piers and things like that. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah. So how long is that one? Is it?
That one's 25. So when, Chattajack has now come into the picture, and I was like, what's 6 more miles?
Absolutely. I am actually wearing my Chattajack shirt from 2018 when I did it.
Awesome. Nice.
Again, we're in very strange times right now. So whether these things happen, I'm actually training for long races more than I think I ever have because of the virtual race situation. And we have a couple of Hawaiian races coming up, Molokai to Oahu, where they're being kind, and we're doing 16 miles instead of the 32, but you do it on your own wherever you live. Yeah. Because we aren't able to travel to those places. But Chattajack, on the other hand, and Carolina Cup still, I think, are hoping to hold their events. And I am hearing in certain places, the Midwest Paddle League, I was just looking at my friend Doug's Facebook, and they're able to hold some events. It is an interesting thing because we get kind of in this whole group of sports events. Well, sports events, when people think of them, they think of stadiums and thousands of people. And, we are in a very different situation being on the water and naturally socially distanced, because when you're paddling, you don't want to be close to someone. You don't want to be bumping into them. So you need some space. So I think there are ways to do it, and sometimes they might have to be reduced sizes, but I am hoping that, of course we want this all to subside and people to be healthy and have, not have people dying. It's a very serious situation, but I hope we can find ways to do it in a healthy way. So are those both races on your
Yes, they are.
hopeful list?
Yes,
Yeah.
I had signed up for Carolina Cup, and then it got postponed to
Yeah.
November. So I only signed up for the 6 miler. So that if it is a go after Chattajack, I'll be pretty psyched to just cruise around for 6 miles. And then we're kind of making our own here in Annapolis. We have a really great community, and we're just kind of making our own fun. Again, like you said, being very safe, socially distancing. As we're launching. But we have a really strong group of paddlers here that likes to get together and either do a little bit of racing or, do a nice paddle. Like on Monday night, we went out to Baltimore Light, which is kind of at the mouth of the Magothy River where I train. And we paddled around this lighthouse and came back, which was super fun.
That sounds so cool. I love that. Like,
so it's just little things like
paddles.
that.
Yeah.
I think we're just making our own fun.
Yeah, I think there will be more of that, and I hope people kind of see that as a way to bring community together in a safe way to do maybe local, whether, like you said, race series or just paddling together, kind of scheduled meetups type thing. So I'm hoping people are finding ways to do that if that's what they like to do, or I mean, the piece of paddling on your own or with just one other person is also wonderful. So I'm kind of jealous. I didn't ask how old your kids are, but that you got your family into this, because mine were a little bit older. One was in college, two in high school when I got the bug in 2010. So I never got them hooked. They were kind of in their own sports and everything already. They've all paddled, certainly, but it's not a huge part of their life. So are your kids still at home, and do they still paddle some, or?
11 and 13, and during quarantine I would bring a couple of boats home from the shop and kind of tell them to go out on the water, and we'd go paddle, and then when I taught my 11-year-old how to do a pivot turn or pop a wheelie, he was like, oh yeah. So then that sold him.
You got to find again that hook.
Exactly.
Hook them in. It might be different for kids than for us.
Exactly.
For you, perhaps it was that nature and family activity, but for him, it was popping a wheelie.
I look cool, yeah.
I haven't heard it called that. I like that, popping a wheelie. Yeah, I love that. I see the younger people, especially, like, how long can you stall and stand, and how far back and how high can you hit the board before you go over. It's that time of year. Your water is probably warmer. Do you have Gulf Stream? Does that get as far up as Maryland? Yeah.
No.
So your water's not cold right now.
No, it's like 80 degrees. It's like a bathtub right now.
The water?
Pretty gross.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So when I go to the Pacific, when I'm out west, I'm like, whoa, this water's freezing. Because
we almost always shock people who touch the Pacific Ocean for the first time in Southern California, thinking it's such a water place. The water must be like Florida or that jet stream that goes along the East Coast and brings the warmth up. But we don't have that. It comes right from deep water, and we think it's in the 60s. We're all happy.
Yeah, it's refreshing.
It is refreshing though. Yeah. So it's not like you're going to get hypothermia falling in. So that part is okay. Definitely. Back to, do you call it CLC or Chesapeake Light Craft?
Yeah, CLC's. Yeah, CLC is what we kind of refer to it. Yeah.
If people were interested in the kit, I mean, do they contact you directly? Are there certain shops? Do they tend to be, I would think, more probably in the kayak outfitters who might have already had a kit for a kayak or canoe? Yeah,
we're the one shop here in the country. So we have a whole website that you can purchase kits from, or you can call the shop and place an order. And we cut them right here and then ship them out directly, or people can pick them up. So,
okay, so it is directly from you. That's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So
again, I think I told you that Larry from Northern California, 10 hours north, but he definitely does a good job as an ambassador for it. And I had forgotten it was his idea of bringing him south. Oop, I'm losing sound. I need to hold still.
I lost you there. You good? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Bouncing around too much. Yeah. So back to, I'm just fascinated by the whole Annapolis, Maryland, that the idea that there's rivers coming in and bays and that the water's warm and that you have multiple shops. So you tend to train on a river? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. So I live in a neighborhood with water access to the Magothy River, and have a bunch of boards stored in a carport outside my house, and husband keeps coming outside every day, and he's like, "Do you need this board?" I'm like, "Yeah, I need it." He's like, "Well, how about this one? Can I sell this one?" I'm like, "No, I need that one." So, but I try to get out a few times a week, mostly in the mornings before work.
Yeah. I love, well, it's fun talking to another female that there are a lot of females in stand-up paddleboarding. And I saw a funny meme of two women talking, and it would be the same in surfing, which has been kind of a guy culture thing here. I've seen memes like it, but it's them laughing to each other. Like, and he asked me if, about how many paddle boards I have. Ha, like I was going to get rid of it.
No way. You need them.
We need them.
Yeah.
Well, besides, if this doesn't keep you busy enough, having a family and racing, you also have your own business. And there's some great associations that do, again, we're a new and still figuring it out sport, but PSUPA, right? You have your training, your certification through them, and you have your own business. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah. So CLC offered to get me certified to work with our customers at various festivals and things like that. So I reached out to Larry, and he got me hooked into the PSUPA, Professional Stand-Up Paddlers Association. And in 2018, I got my flat water level 1 certification. And then shortly after that, I had some local rowers in the community ask me to do some training plans, and then I would do some coaching on stand-up paddle for MantraFit. So I was like, oh, maybe I should make my own thing, my own company, and that's kind of where Oars and Paddles stemmed from, because rowers are very particular. They are not paddles; those are oars. So there's the big distinction. So, but now I do both, and I love being in both worlds still, which is a lot of fun.
That is neat. We mentioned that I learned recently that one of the main differences is in rowing and crew. Your back is facing, unlike all the others that are kind of lumped together where we're forward facing with a paddle. So that's, and as you said, it has an amazing history. It's been around for a long time. That's fun. I don't know that much about it, but I know actually a lot of swimmers and water polo players who got recruited in college because it isn't as strong in high schools unless you happen to have a team in your area, or maybe that's more out west. Maybe there's a lot more on the East Coast. So if you looked like you had like the shoulders and the strength, they'd peg you if you're tall. I guess there were certain things that were advantageous, unless you're what's the name of the person in the back?
The coxswain.
Yeah. Then you're supposed to be lightweight, right?
Light and bossy.
I love that. But that's wonderful that you do them both. Yeah. I don't know that I've met anybody who balances those two types of coaching. That's wonderful. And it's funny because when it's called an oar, when our paddle is called an oar, a lot of us look like, what are you talking about?
Not what it is.
But terminology is another thing in stand-up paddling. I definitely, for instance, in teaching what you call the stroke, I still hear differences based on whether you come from no water culture, a surf water culture, a kayak, because they definitely had different terminology for some of the same things. So it will be interesting to see. I'm excited for us to kind of own stand-up paddleboarding and really look at things like that and the teaching and the terminology. And another thing which came up, and I did look up safety. You said you were horrified that somebody thought you weren't a safe paddler, and you are, and it's very important to you. That's, as a certified instructor, I know you feel that way. And you did have a belt pack on. It just wasn't easy to see in that picture. But that gentleman, Bob Pratt, is a great, I mean, he's just a hardcore advocate for everything safety. And one of the things that he really pushes, which I still think isn't talked about enough, is being a swimmer, is being able to swim. I still think it's amazing that people get on stand-up paddleboards who don't know how to swim. Either they weren't asked by the rental place, or they often do not tell the truth, I understand, because they're in groups. But it's really important. It is, I don't own a company, I haven't, but you need to know that they will be okay, especially if you're not with them. And I think swimming is another one of those issues. But I think we need to look at safety equipment too, and like really modifying the things that we've taken. In the United States, we were designated as a vessel. in 2008. So we immediately adopted everything that's kayak. Not that it's good or bad. That's how they decided to define us. But that's the leash conversation wasn't even in the picture for a long time. And we talked briefly about that there's different types of leashes, but they can be sometimes the most important safety equipment depending on your situation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit. PSUPA have, I know they've changed. It was actually Rob Casey got it started in Washington, and now it's a wonderful couple down
Julie
in
and
Mexico.
Kurt. I know. I need to make an excuse to do some professional development down there.
I know. I'd love to go down and see where they are.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Once we travel again. Yeah. Great people took it over. So do they have other levels past flat water?
Yeah. So I think the cool thing about the PSUPA is they have flat water, they have the white water, and there's all kinds of different facets to it. It's not just one focus, which I think is really cool about that organization. So
that is, yeah. I think that's important. It's really important that stand-up paddling, one of the beauties is that it's so versatile and it can be used in so many different ways, but there really are differences to teaching and training and safety in the different ways that we're using it. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
But it still is very much, as much as you and I are in racing and there's these niches that are like some new ones, whitewater and new ones like foiling and winging. And all the ways that we put the human powered and nature powered together, which I think is really fun and fascinating. But there's still a basic to it that makes it so accessible, which I think is one of the beautiful things, that it's if you have the right equipment. I always throw that in. Anybody can stand up paddleboard. You can learn to do it. Some people are I was one of those that was a little bit, sometimes your head gets, I think, you're on wobbly ground. I definitely had the shaky legs where some people just stand on it like no problem at all, just for a time or two. But some of those I have seen the most challenged are the most athletic, like big, like a football player frame, tall guy who's used to muscling everything, and grips that paddle really tight, and their feet are probably clenched on top of that.
I hate drafting behind those guys because you're always like,
whoa, there's some power there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Have you had so rowing for the Naval Academy? I mean, I hope that we can get stand-up paddling into colleges and high schools. Cool. Any thoughts on how? I mean, I didn't even talk to you about this, but that just came up since you've worked in our school system, secondary and collegiate.
Yeah. I think, especially at like an independent school, one of the school that I used to work out before I got here was the Gunston School in Centerville, Maryland. The campus was right on the water, and we totally could have had paddle boards there. But then that would have been competing. It's like, which one do I pick?
There's some of that.
I think, and like you said, you get the swimmers, you get the rowers, you get, the track kids, the cross-country kids, and those would be a great pipeline for stand-up paddle. And it's just a great community, and that would be really fun to see at the collegiate level. So, I think that's a great idea. Let's do it.
Oh, let's do it. Cool.
All right, I'll call the NCAA. We'll take care of it.
Well, Nicole, it's so wonderful to hear about what you've done, what you're doing right now yourself with racing. Thank you for introducing us to Chesapeake Light Craft.
Yes.
CLC, and what a fun concept that you can actually make your own stand-up paddleboard.
Yeah.
Or boats of different types.
Or boats, kayaks, yep.
Just because we had a brief conversation about the fact that one positive out of this negative situation of this disease is that people are really finding exercise and finding the outdoors.
Yeah.
And I happen to live near a bike and hiking trail, and I have never seen so many people doing both of those things, especially just out walking and hiking. And that's going to be a real boon and it already is. Actually, our stores, we're hearing anecdotally, are really selling things and really renting, and people want to get outside and they want to get on the water. So I hope that's a big success for you too. But you mentioned that I think camping, I read, was going to be the #1 outdoor activity because people are looking for, how can I do something that's contained, that's safe, that's maybe just with my family? That you have an interesting kit that I would have never thought would have come from you. What's that?
So that's the Teardrop Camper. That came out probably about 4.5 years ago. And it's actually, with us being a wooden boat kit company, it's our best-selling kit.
It is. Wow.
Yep. Yeah. So people just go nuts over it. We take it to shows and they just freak out. And it's the cutest thing. So
yeah. So I rented one of those.
You did?
My
okay.
Subaru. I got a
Nice,
trailer hitch, and before we were thinking, but I think I told you we ended up going the cargo van conversion direction.
That's so cool. Yeah.
But those teardrops are so cool, and I love the idea of a wood one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look up pictures of that. Actually, we're gonna post a picture in our Facebook.
Yeah.
Group.
We could definitely do that.
Yeah. Love.
So I'm hoping to take the teardrop. There's a race in Vermont in a couple weeks, and I'm hoping to head up there because they're letting you camp on site, which is pretty cool.
That's really cool.
So I saw that. I was like, perfect. So we'll just take the teardrop and do a road trip and be safe.
Yes. But it is interesting that, again, some of the races are actually happening locally in California, but in places that are less populated. Actually, we still have some races on the book for Lake Tahoe, which is not as urban as our coastal area in Southern California.
Nice.
But I don't think we're going to get any. Well, I hope to get to meet you at if Carolina Cup or Chattajack happen this year.
Awesome.
If not in 2020 and 2021. And it's been fantastic talking with you and meeting you.
Thank you so much.
And, best of luck with what you're doing, and continue to enjoy both the water and the wood watercraft.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Okay. Thanks
so much.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
And remember that this is recorded immediately if you want to tell someone about it. It will be also on YouTube soon, where all of these interviews are, and that we have a Facebook group called Supconnect Live Discussions, which we'd love you to join us there, and we'll put links to Chesapeake Light Craft, to find Nicole's company, and some photos too.
Nice.
Take care, everyone. Be safe.
All right.
Enjoy. Happy Thursday.